You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
We're here in the little seacoast town of Onoto Bay in the parish of St. Mary for the Ministry of Tourism's official opening of Markingstone Beach. Business Access TV brings you highlights from Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and other stakeholders. Stay with us.
We have recognized, and the Minister has instructed us to ensure that we are rehabilitating and developing beaches across Jamaica to ensure that there are enough public beaches for our people to, I know sometimes they call us dryland tourists, but for us to enjoy the benefits of this beautiful country. Today is a continuation of openings of various tourism developments across St. Mary, and the Minister and his entourage have been just coming from Rio Nuevo village, which is quite impressive, and I overheard the Minister saying how impressed he was with it. And so it's a message to St. Mary to say, listen, tourism recognizes you and we are here facilitating the development. Now, tourism is one of those industries where it requires partnerships. And so no matter how much we do from the ministry, it requires partnerships with stakeholders, partnerships with municipalities, partnerships with the people to ensure that the standards are maintained and are as high as possible. And we build on the legacy that we have here in Jamaica as one of the best destinations in the world.
Well, this transformation here at Markingstone is one of many that we're doing across the island. You see, tourism is changing quite a bit with the advent of technology that opens up an opportunity for the average Jamaican to actually benefit from tourism. It's not only a case where they need to work inside a hotel or to supply a hotel, they can also benefit from renting out their space. Because Jamaica, thankfully, we've been blessed where anywhere you go in Jamaica, you can find a beach or a river or a waterfall or a mountain. You can have some great experience, and with the natural weather and our natural hospitable culture and so on, we end up pretty much having an industry, a resource that's available to every Jamaican to become a tourism entrepreneur. So how that is enhanced is if all the beaches that are dotted across the island are then developed, so that restroom facilities are in place, so one, the environment is protected, but we demonstrate respect and provide that convenience to anybody who uses the beach and so on. So, you know, seating areas, parking spaces, security, lifeguards and so on. And that's what we've done here, and we are doing across Jamaica to open up Jamaica more. It's not only on the north coast, or it's all over Jamaica. We want to make it a case where tourists and the diaspora and Jamaicans are enjoying what we've been blessed with naturally. So that is the purpose of investing in beaches like the Markingstone Beach and getting the result that we have today.
I have visited this facility. I passed by here just the other day before the work was complete, but on entering the gate I was wondering, am I really at Markingstone Beach? And that is a testimony to the work that has been done here. I noticed I saw some persons out there enjoying the facility already, so it is a good sign. We are eternally grateful to the Tourism Enhancement Fund for spending, I won't mention the figure, maybe the Minister will do that later, but significant funds on this facility. And as I said, it looks like a first-class beach. Those of us who know Markingstone before would understand why I am so excited based on what I have seen. the St. Mary Municipal Corporation has owned this facility for a long time. Although, Minister, this is one of the properties that is everybody knows belongs to the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. However, it is in the name of Commissioner of Lands. We have interviewed interested parties in terms of leasing this facility because we don't have the capability to run such a facility. So we have interviewed persons, we have sent to the Ministry of Local Government for them to approve so that we can have somebody run the facility and run it properly as to how it should be.
What does growth in tourism mean for Onoto Bay?
Well, it means a lot in that we will be bringing more tourists here, then we'll provide more jobs and more opportunities for our locals. So it is indeed important to us. This facility that has been renovated, we hope, based on the individual will run it, we hope it will be run in a way that we will actually get tourists here as well as locals. But apart from this facility alone, we are looking at other heritage tourism developments throughout the parish, and we took the minister on a tour of an area in Portmore, a very historic area, where we are trying to do a tour of that area. So we have formed a committee and we are looking into getting some funding from the Tourism Enhancement Fund to make that tour a reality.
The corporation has authority to manage the beach. How will the upkeep be guided?
The upkeep will be guided by statuses under the Local Governance Act and also our act in relation to our Building Act, the Town and Country Planning Act. We use all of those because as a local building authority, local planning authority, we also work along with other state agencies to manage our beaches, to manage our public spaces. So not only us will be responsible for the management of the beach, but we will also be using guidelines from other state agencies. We'll ensure that the park has the requisite number of lifeguards, has the requisite safety facilities in place, for example, your backboards, your first aid kits, as I said, your lifeguards. As you can see, the lifeguard stands are already here. So we are ensuring that the safety of the members, not only of the workers, but of the general public, are taken into consideration, the security of the site in itself. We're going to ensure that the beach and itself will be developed into a recreational space, a park, so that the locals for not only Onoto Bay but the greater St. Mary will also be served and our visitors to this country.
What other important purpose does this transformation serve for the people of Onoto Bay?
It serves a very important purpose because it is an active open space. It's somewhere that you'll need for relaxation and rejuvenation because you work in a very stressful environment no matter where it is, and you are going to need a space where you can relax, you can congregate with your family, with your friends. So this is a facility that is needed for any community to fully develop an active open space area. This, I believe, is one of the premier sites in this area. It is not only going to be used as a beach park in itself, it's one of the areas that is going to be used, for example, like for your parties, because it is a little outside of the town, so you won't have that congestion in the town itself. So it will be used for that sort of facilities. It is well-needed facility, and we will endeavor to not only maintain as it is right now, but we'll also be developing for other facilities within this area.
We're gonna go for a break, but when we return, more from the Marking Stone Beach in Onoto Bay, St. Mary.
Get your new ride this Christmas with VM Drive Auto Loan Special. Reduced interest rate on all vehicles new and used. And 1-day loan approval. And low monthly payments. And $10,000 gas free for the first 25 applicants. And a sweet car care package. With VM Drive Auto Loan, you could have a very Merry Christmas. Apply today. Offer ends December 21st. For more information, contact 876-754-8627. VM Drive Auto Loan, because you're going places.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop, or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
And we're back. Thanks for staying with us for the coverage of the opening of the Marking Stone Beach held in Annotto Bay, St. Mary. Here's more.
You know, it also gives me great pride and a pleasure to be here today. And why this is so, I was whispering in the ears of the minister that this beach here has a special place in my heart as well. I can't tell you why. I mean, I've told him why, and I told Bob also. I can't tell nobody else. But when I was a little boy, I used to come to this beach regularly, and then when I became a young man, I used to come to this beach, but not just in the days, but in the nights as well. So you can understand what I'm talking about, right? Oh, yeah. But what is so pleasing is for the facility to be brought up to this level. And when I toured along with the minister, especially in the bathrooms, this is not just a hurry come up bathroom. This is a bathroom that can rival any facility in the world. I mean, the bathroom is well put together. And Bob, this is something that I hope, I may have mentioned it before, and I guess all the speakers will mention it, that building these properties is one thing, but to maintain them is the other thing. We want to know that when you come to facilities, you feel good that you're in the right place, not just somewhere that you just have to use. And this is a country, we're building a country based on excellence. Marking Stone Beach is also a manifestation of the quality development, and I know that Bob, with his expertise, when we come back here, Minister, This lawns will be pristine with green grass and flowering plants all around. And I was mentioning to the councillor earlier about the almond trees. You know, when these grow and become good shades across these seats, it will be a sight to behold. And that's what we want. We want facilities that we not only build, but we are proud to call our own, because we're building this new Jamaica. And before I come down, I want to again say special thanks to the minister. This is one minister, when you ask him about projects that means Jamaica well, he never says no. And I remember just coming into politics, and I asked him about several developments across Southeast St. Mary. And I'm proud to say that he has responded so well, and the people of Southeast is very thankful to you, sir. And look for your continued showering us with your blessings. We welcome this particular development, as with most developments that are taking place across Jamaica. But this development is special for me in a number of ways. As a member of parliament for this area, I mean, the development is welcome, but more importantly, I was born here, and this was one of my beaches that I used to visit when I was a little boy. And you know, I grew to love and appreciate this particular area. As you can see, it's very idyllic. It's away from the hustle and bustle, and it is very suitable for a day of full relaxation and fun. So we welcome it.
What does this transformation mean to you?
No, it means a lot, because what is happening and what has happened to a number of small communities across Jamaica, sometimes the development doesn't pass through or is not evident in those areas. So having something like this now shows that development can come to the local areas, and therefore it's important for us to appreciate this sort of development. And not only that, it might be a catalyst for other developments that will take place in a particular area. As you can see, it sits on the corridor, a major thoroughfare through this constituency.
How will you ensure sustainable management of this here beach?
Well, one of the things which we are very big on is not just the development of these facilities, but the maintenance of these facilities. And what has happened so far, which is quite remarkable, we have had a number of persons, I get to understand, that were interested in this facility, and they've selected one such individual now who is from the area as well. So this is somebody from the area who not only has a business interest, but has a personal connection to it. So the facility is for us in Anoto Bay. I'd like to say thank you very much to the Minister, to TEF, and all the persons who have participated in this, to the Municipal Corporation, the Mayor, and the Councillor of this particular division, which is Anoto Bay Division, for their work in getting the facility to what it is. And we are happy for it, and I'm sure going forward, the persons who will use the facility will also find that it is a welcome addition to what we have. There are a number of other things which are going to come about in Southeast St. Mary that I'd like to say will happen in a very short time. We're getting a number of things done finally in Southeast St. Mary, because we believe that we can take our pride and rightful place in this development and this Jamaica that we are creating.
I'm therefore pleased to be here today to hand over an upgraded Marking Stone beach to complement your offerings. The beach was upgraded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund at a cost of $38.3 million as part of its National Beach Development Program. And I want to make the point that sometimes comments are made in advance of action known to begin, and the actions, when they follow, gives an impression as though they are being driven by another direction. But these series of beaches that we are going to be opening and handing over between now and the end of the year makes the story and tells the tale very well
that this represents work done, activities in train, and now work completed and ready to be handled. So we have done the upgrading here, not on the basis of providing a beach facility, but on the basis of providing a complete entertainment facility and an attraction in its own right. And when you look at what is done here, and you see that we have constructed a guardhouse, 3 gazebos, well-appointed restrooms, and I want you to take note of that. When you finish, go and look in those restrooms. And that's what we're talking about, because it makes no sense to have a wonderful beach and a beautiful facility, nice eating areas, and then afterwards you go to another place. We want you to go to a place equally appointed and well prepared and fit for purpose. We have parking facilities as well as landscaping work, among other significant improvements that you will see. We recognize that beaches are a great resource of tourism. In fact, our scenic beaches attract a large number of domestic and inbound tourists. This is why we have ensured that the TEF has committed to transform one beach in every parish to a quality recreational space. And remember the point I'm making, not to have a nice beach, but a quality recreational space. And it must operate at the highest and best international standards for a country such as ours. And it must be available to residents and visitors alike. So to date, we have spent $104 million for 3 beaches in the overall beach program. And the next one we will open properly is going to be licensed, where we spend $49 million to upgrade. And then we're going to do Boston Beach, and we're going to do Winifred Beach, and we are going to do other beaches in the west, because the west has to be touched too, and we are going to be doing beaches along the south coast as well. Those of us who have leadership in the political arena have a duty to guide and to lead and to enlighten and to ensure that that higher level of presentation is always kept in sight, and not to be part of any process that will help to lead people to be left out of the mainstream of development because our facilities are substandard. And as minister, I'm committed to that process. And this ministry will continue through the efforts of the TEF to upgrade and continue to enhance the quality of the Jamaican product, and to ensure that our ordinary Jamaican entrepreneurs, our little man, as we call it, have a nice, decent place to peddle their wares, where they can wash their hands and have proper conveniences, and they can feel and move around with air and space. And the visitors who come can also leave with a good impression and say when they leave Jamaica, what a wonderful little country that I have been. It was a joy to go to the markets in Jamaica. But we know that change is never a linear process, and that change sometimes requires a little bit of hand-holding. And we know that change sometimes causes a little bit of disruption. And sometimes we don't understand it, and when we don't understand it, we become suspicious of it. So we are going to work with our partners, and we're going to make sure that we hold hands and do it right, and do it together, and do the transformation from poverty to prosperity.
We pride ourselves in being a destination of sand, sea, and sun. And so we bring the world here for a beach experience as well. So it's a big part of the product in Jamaica. But we are careful to note that it represents a huge part of our resources that are being consumed by our people, and that the access represents an important route to ensuring that there's harmony between visitors and locals. So we have moved with energy and haste to prepare and fix local beaches that are appropriate and adequate and appointed for the purpose, so that our people will not be left out and we will feel less catered to because the beaches are not up to the standards.
How does this help or harm locals in the tourism sector?
We are now looking at management to ensure that there is good management here so that the maintenance of these facilities can be secured and the further upgrading of what we have can be realized.
Who is responsible for the management and how will it be guided?
Well, we developed the beach on behalf of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. And what the Municipal Corporation has done is to then go to tender and procure and find a suitable person to manage and to handle the facilities here. So they have done that, and they tell me that they have found someone, and we will be looking to ensure that they keep up to the standard that we want for the beach.
How much of a challenge was the transformation for this beach in particular?
It truly was a challenge because, as you can see, this is just a dust bowl. That's what it was. And with the black sand beach, it's sometimes a little more difficult to work with than the traditional white sand beaches. But I think that the teams did well. Our technical people from TEF and TPDCO who drove the process were enough to the task, and they did a great job, and I'm satisfied that it didn't take us as long as we thought. In fact, we figured it might have been a little over a year when we started, but we were able to do it within a year, and I thank them for that efficiency.
And that brings to a close the official opening of Markingstone Beach here in Onoto Bay, St. Mary. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 fraud spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Jamaica is known as a cultural superstate, an island of talented people, world dominators in music and sports, just to name a few. Today on Jamaica Magazine, the pages highlight the work being done to propel Jamaica in another sporting arena, golf. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us. The magazine unfolds right now.
Good day, ladies. We're going into communities to identify persons on the voters list over 40 years old who have died, so the EOJ can update their voters list.
Oh, Derek can't come off of the list now in the last year I'm dead.
Exactly.
From November 2018, the EOJ will be conducting a special exercise to remove the names of voters that have passed away from the voters list. You can help. Call the EOJ at 888-991-VOTE. For more information, visit our website at ecj.com.jm.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, December 4. A $13 million project to restore the hydrological and other physical functions of the Negril Great Morass in Westmoreland has been launched. The Integrated Water, Land and Ecosystems project is being funded by the Global Environment Facility through the United Nations Environment Program, with support from the government. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, is the executing agency. Implementation begins in January 2019 and continues through to 2022. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Daryl Vaz, says the project is a timely one.
The biodiversity of the Negril Environmental Protection Area is threatened by human-induced drainage of its wetlands, coastal development, unsustainable agricultural practices, and the proliferation of informal settlements.
The project will address areas such as pollution management, build community capacity, and improve the supporting systems of the Great Morass. Negotiations are ongoing with approximately 40 companies to become licensed with the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, JCEZA. The companies are in the manufacturing, services, and logistics industries. The disclosure was made by JCEZA's chairman, Metri Siaga, who says the companies represent millions of US dollars in investment and increased employment. Mr. Siaga says they will operate as standalone special economic zones or as developers within the zones.
We feel that we are moving in the right direction. We feel that this is a good sign. We feel that it is testament that the architects of this new piece of legislation did the right thing because it is creating the investment that we need in the country. Just this morning we signed an MOU with JAMPRO, who are going to be a significant part of helping us to market and promote the investments that we need in the country.
The JCEZA's chairman says the number of approved new applicants are now 10, with another 5 being recommended for approval. To date, there are 109 companies operating in the free zones, which will transition next year into the special economic zones. Mr. Siaga was speaking on Friday after the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with JAMPRO to market and promote investments within the zones. 50 exporters are to be trained and mentored under Export Max 3, which was launched on Thursday. The program provides capacity building and market penetration opportunities for local firms that are ready to grow beyond Jamaica's borders.
The primary objectives of this year's program is to identify the specific needs of the target companies and to design and implement customized enterprise development initiatives to improve their business performance and competitiveness.
Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw has commended JAMPRO on taking the program this far.
This launch seeks to build on the success of Exports Max 1 and 2, which together recorded over $2.2 billion in sales. Indeed, its previous success sets the stage for the implementation of this third iteration, which we are now undertaking on a much larger scale.
Export Max 1 began in 2011 with 15 exporters, followed by Export Max 2 with 20 exporters. Export Max 3 is being implemented in partnership with the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association and the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. The Consumer Affairs Commission is once again urging buyers to demonstrate extra care during this high shopping period. The agency says appliances and electrical items topped the list for the highest complaints received by the agency during the financial year. This accounts for 33% of its database. The complaints are over an 8 to 9 month period, with a 9% increase since the start of the financial year. In addition to shopping around, Ms. Campbell says where possible, consumers should have items tested before leaving the store. They should also request a receipt as proof of purchase in the event the item becomes defective.
And when we say receipt, we mean proper receipts, not just a listing tape, but receipts with information that gives you the name of the store, the date of the purchase, a description of the item that you purchased, any other fees that may be there attached to this to the purchase of the item, and there is other information that you can always get on the receipt. But make sure that those things are there.
The CAC's Chief Executive Officer says a warranty is another key piece of information to get when purchasing appliances or electronic items.
We have to ensure it is written. It is written on our invoice or some other documents that we get from the store. And when we ask for warranty, we have to ensure what is it that it covers.
Ms. Campbell was speaking at a JIS think tank on Friday. The newly constructed Savannah Lamar Inclusive Infant Academy is now open. The Westmoreland-based institution, which caters to students with and without disabilities, is the first of its kind in the parish. At the opening ceremony on Wednesday, Minister of Education, Senator Ruel Reid, said the institution was built in keeping with international standards.
Inclusive education means, therefore, creating an environment to all different and diverse students to learn side by side in the same classroom. They collaborate and participate together in school activities, including the same sport, meets, and plays. Everything together. Inclusive education values the unique contributions each student brings to the classroom. Everybody is special in the sight of God.
Minister Reid commended Rock House Foundation for partnering with the ministry to construct the school. And finally, the new $1 million bypass road for the 3 Miles area is now open. The Chesterfield Drive roadway was commissioned into service on December 2. It was built to bypass 3 Miles and a section of Spanish Town Road, where China Harbour Engineering Company Czech is undertaking road development works. The new road runs from the end of Chesterfield Drive in the Seaview Gardens community to Marcus Garvey Drive in the vicinity of the Tinson Pen Aerodrome. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
Up next, the whereabouts and activities of Prime Minister Andrew Holness during the past week.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is currently on the last leg of a 3-country assignment, which saw him participating in 3 conferences and engaging the diaspora. Catch the highlights of his assignment in Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is currently in Trinidad and Tobago, championing the urgent implementation of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy CSME. The 2-day conference, which began on Monday, is a follow-up to July's Heads of Government Conference in Montego Bay and September's Ministerial Subcommittee meeting in Barbados. CARICOM leaders are seeking consensus on the way forward for the grouping in light of the recommendations put forward by the Bruce Golding-led CARICOM Review Commission report.
Before that, the Prime Minister was in Argentina for the November 30 to December 1 G20 summit. He called on leaders to move from climate talk to climate action. Mr. Holness said this could be achieved through sponsorship of the United Nations Climate Financing Initiative and the implementation of a fairer way to decide how countries access climate change funds.
Countries that demonstrate fiscal credibility should be eligible for international cooperation and assistance in the acquisition of ex-ante financial insulation for the cost of emergency response to natural disasters. Furthermore, GDP should not remain the sole determinant of graduation, where vulnerability so clearly impacts small island states and economic resilience. This aligns our commitment to promoting fiscal responsibility, debt sustainability, and climate resilience.
Jamaica and host country Argentina also signed a cooperation agreement on sport. This is a follow-up to the 2017 agreement signed between the countries in the areas of art and culture. On the margins of the G20 summit, Prime Minister Andrew Holness also had fruitful discussions with world leaders. Talks with his Singaporean counterpart centered on deepening cooperation. Renewable energy, climate change resilience, and partnership in development were discussion points between Mr. Holness and India's Narendra Modi. The Prime Minister also held talks with the Secretary General of the United Nations and French President Emmanuel Macron. Ahead of the G20 summit, the Prime Minister was in the U.S. state of Washington, D.C. for a high-level conference on building resilience to disasters and climate change in the Caribbean. While calling for multilaterals to institute a vulnerability index for small island developing states to access funds for climate change, Mr. Holness urged the grouping to broaden its disaster resilience dialogue to include slow onset events.
Not just the ones that we see happening every year during the hurricane season, or with major rain events or earthquake events, but those that are slowly eating away at our capacity to survive.
As a precautionary measure, Jamaica signed a $285 million contingent credit loan facility with the Inter-American Development Bank. The funds are expected to provide immediate financing during the emergency recovery phase following a natural disaster. While in Washington, D.C., Prime Minister Holness addressed a protocolary session of the Organization of American States, OAS. He pledged to increase Jamaica's cooperation with its development partners to get 50% of its energy needs from renewables by the year 2030. Mr. Holness said the state had been diversifying its energy sources to include renewables and upgrading Petrojam to supply Jamaica and the region's energy needs. And with OAS support, Jamaica will be hosting the 4th ministerial meeting of the Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas in October 2019. That conference will give the island an opportunity to exchange and gather information to achieve energy security.
Together, we must continue efforts aimed at promoting regional energy cooperation through different strategies, identifying energy initiatives, and exchanging experiences within the countries of the Americas in support of the collective development objective.
The Prime Minister used Tuesday's function to urge the OAS to strengthen its support of member states' fight against the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons.
It is rapidly leading to the destruction of many of the gains made by countries in the Americas.
The Prime Minister's D.C. visit also saw him signing a U.S.-Jamaica Energy Investment Framework Agreement. Wednesday's signing is expected to yield additional investment and export opportunities for both countries.
And we're also very thankful for the understanding and facilitation that you have given us in other critical regional matters. It really means a lot to us. And as we look to strengthen our relationship, we welcome the deepening partnership in energy.
The Prime Minister also carved out some time to meet with the diaspora at a town hall. As he pledged to work more closely with the diaspora, Mr. Holness announced plans to establish a commission to study violence in Jamaica. The commission is to make recommendations to transform the island into a more loving and caring society. On Saturday, the Prime Minister expressed sadness at the passing of the 41st President of the United States, George H.W. Bush. He recognized the 41st president as a man of strength, a believer in the building of democratic institutions, and a friend to the region. The past week also found Prime Minister Andrew Holness committing his government to pursuing initiatives that protect the nation's children. Among them, fast-tracking work to amend key legislation impacting children, finalizing the National Plan of Action for an integrated response to children and violence, and accelerating targets set by the Global Partnership to End Violence Against Children.
My passion, both as a government official and a devoted father, is well known, and I can assure you that our government will continue to make a priority actions geared at protecting our children in meaningful ways.
The Prime Minister delivered that commitment on Sunday in a message to a conference being staged by the International Society for the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect, ISPCAN. Sunday also saw the Prime Minister expressing pride at Jamaican Dalton Harris being named the 2018 X Factor competition winner. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
The Ministry of Tourism's plan to push Jamaica as a Gulf destination has teed off. Global Gulf tourism earnings stand at $23 million. The country owning a few of the world's best courses can certainly rake in a larger share of the earnings. Coming up, Jamaica as a Gulf destination.
We have been building a tradition in Jamaica for sports tourism, and golfing is one of the sports that we have identified, and we'll be spending some resources on that over the next few years.
People go away for golfing, people go away for scuba diving, people go away for water sports activities, people go away for a ton of reasons. Golfing is one of them. Why not then ensure that you have the kind of product that is going to sell every single day of life? If you have the good golf courses, the people will come to the destination.
They say it's a 4.5-hour walk wasted, but I think at the end of the day, in the world in which we live, a lot of people utilize that to do a lot of business because you're in a confined space for an extended period of time.
Team number 9.
Sandals Resort is among the local properties that have been selling Jamaica as a course for golf. The resort hosts an annual travel agents golf tournament at its 18-hole championship golf course, which is decorated with lush flora and fauna. Yearly, about 80 travel agents from the United States of America and Canada are provided with an all-expense-paid weekend getaway to the island for the prestigious golf tournament.
We use it as an opportunity to educate the agents a little bit more about the product from our offerings such as our Love Nest Suites, our 5-star global gourmet dining experiences, the exchange privileges that you have in the area. But then we also use the golf tournament as a way for them to expose them to the golf course, the fact that we have the best caddies, the rolling fairways, really all the things that they can actually go back and market to their clients who are interested in playing golf in the Caribbean.
This year's been amazing. I'm getting better at my game because I used to not play. I used to just attend, and now I'm playing.
Though they are not golf pros, they compete for bragging rights and illustrious awards.
And the winner for the most posts is Barbara Lee. The winner for the female closest to the pin is Sonia Eartham. The next award, which is for the men's closest to the pin, Joseph Eartham. Team number 16, Mann, Rother, Elmo, and Beckman. Can you guys come on up for me? Or runners up. Team number 13, of Mark and Shayla Gerling, who played with Doug and Janet Hornick. Congratulations to our tournament winners.
The best way to sell anything is to experience it. So they're here, they're having fun, and because they're salespersons, they're extremely competitive.
Golf is fantastic. The island is amazing. The people and the culture, and it's English speaking, so that also helps.
There's no way you can have a bad time out here. It's just, everything's phenomenal.
The tourism minister, among a throng of Destination Jamaica sellers, has seized the opportunity to confirm that the island is welcoming to golfers.
Golf is such a wonderful sport. It helps in many ways to build what we call the higher demographics. We are going to work harder with the Jamaica Golf Association in helping to look at improving significantly these courses and to enable us to bring more of that demographic into our destination.
That demographic includes not only men, but also women and youngsters who tee off in the game of balls, clubs, and holes.
My name is Radina Laban. I love to play golf, and in the future, if God's willing, I'd love to be a professional golfer. I just love the sport. I've learned to manage myself more, my behavior, sit down, relax, free my mind, just have a good time.
I play golf because it helped me to interact more with my friends. It helps me to get off the road, keep me out of trouble. So, sometimes it's hard to just sit down in the house and do nothing.
Golfing is such a great sport for husbands, wives, families. It's just for everybody.
We are a golf destination. Now, the difference between a golf course and a golf destination is that a golf course focuses only on golf. When you think about who we are as Jamaicans, the bobsled team went to a place to compete in something that doesn't exist in tropical Jamaica. Jamaicans are good at whatever they do. Let's show the world golf is just one of those other things.
Cancer, stress, high blood pressure. Guard yourself against these potentially deadly conditions by eating healthy. Give your body long life with foods such as low-fat milk, dried and fresh peas and beans, unsalted nuts and seeds, fresh vegetables, fruits and coconut water, and eliminate processed seasonings such as seasoning salt, soy sauces and ketchup. When it comes to meats, remember to remove the skin to reduce the intake of fats and oils. Meats should also be baked, steamed, grilled, or roasted. Fish is also a preferred protein option. To eat healthy, fill your body with a variety of foods from all the food groups. And remember, eat at a slow pace and in small bites to help aid digestion. This helps to maintain a healthy, balanced, and nutritious diet, strengthening your body to ward off illness and prolong life.
Jamaica is also known for its food, producing some of the best ground provisions, herbs and spices. For this reason and more, place of vending should be world-class, equally matching the quality of the food on sale. Next, an island-wide market upgrade project being implemented by the local government ministry.
It is a cultural paradox in the country of bounty. The land's fruits, fresh and nutritious, sold within spaces, too many of which are eyesores. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is changing that, delivering market spaces that are as appealing as the produce they display.
Most of our markets are in a deplorable condition.
These markets are not conducive for vending or for persons to ply their trade.
That is slowly changing. Repaired roofs, properly made stalls, improved flooring, ample parking, and concessionaire shops are taking shape in markets across the island.
It is the obligation of the government to ensure that we provide the necessary resources.
The Market Rehabilitation Project forms part of government's drive for economic development. This is where producers and consumers connect directly as they haggle and hustle to make the sale or get the most pounds for their dollars. And in the midst, people talk, socialize, and stock their food baskets with high-quality local produce. It is a system worth preserving and maximizing to serve more of the population's needs.
The concept of not just having a market that caters for ground provision and haberdashery use, to have a market that will also create other services in the same complex.
Among the markets under repair is the Maypen facility in Clarendon. It has been expanded with modernized sheds and containers to replace wood stalls. $3 million was also spent to renovate the once leaking roof.
We recently did some work on the roof. It used to leak very badly. And now, after the works, I'm now hearing from the vendors that is good again.
Where the people them sell the clothes, it used to leak. And the mayor got it fixed. They are comfortable right now because they are not wetting up no more.
We are in the process of putting in a rainwater harvesting system, channeling the water into a used tank in the corner where we can use all of that water to clean the market. There's another area there that we intend to cover and have it properly rendered, you know, so that food vending can take place there as well.
In Hanover, the Hopewell Market will be refurbished at a cost of $20 million. The entrance will get a facelift, while the roof, electrical system, plumbing, stalls, flooring, and bathrooms will be repaired. In St. Andrew, the Stony Hill Market will face $30 million of refurbishing work. Users will soon have renovated bathrooms, an improved entrance, a better roof, and concrete stalls. The Papine Market, also in St. Andrew, will be repaired after recent fire damage. A new Falmouth Market is being built at a cost of $300 million through a partnership with the Port Authority of Jamaica. And the Charles Garden Market in St. James will be refurbished at a cost of $15 million. Work has also started on the Port Maria Market in St. Mary with a budget of over $55 million and an April 2019 completion date. While those markets are being upgraded, others have already received their facelifts. Phase 1 of the Clarkstown Market in Trelawney, which includes a new transportation center, was recently completed. Phase 2 is now underway at a cost of $20 million. And if anybody is carrying their ackee to the Linstead Market these days, a $12 million investment means there should be no electrical short circuit taking place.
When we spend the money to upgrade and to make the markets into an acceptable position, I am going to challenge our vendors to utilize the markets once we have undertaken the necessary repairs.
There are over 50 active markets in the country, showcasing produce that are pound for pound, among the best in the world. The local government ministry is ensuring that these facilities are of equally high standard.
Thanks for hanging with us today. Please visit our social media pages so you can remain in the know while we're off screen. Click on any one of these handles displayed and you may find us there. Or send us an email if you have a comment or a question. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV. Serious.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
BATV is here to bring you the highlights from the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, where DK Duncan will be delivering the keynote address on political leadership, an enabler or disabler to Jamaica's economic growth. I'm Javon Keys and I'll be your host. Stay with us, much more after this.
The Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership, J.D. Seal, evolved out of a need for the University of Technology, Jamaica, as an academic institution to rise to the national challenge of addressing the endemic problem of unemployment by providing specific training to persons, particularly our youths, interested in starting their own businesses. It has been recognized the world over that developing the tools of entrepreneurship is one important way of promoting individuals to become their own sources of employment, given that established corporate entities are contracting in the economy. In other words, entrepreneurship is now a most invaluable tool in the arsenal of a country's strategy for national development. The government of Jamaica, through its 2030 vision document, highlights the importance of entrepreneurship in economic development. And the MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy document of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries states as follows, and I quote, "The MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy seeks to offer a comprehensive, targeted and coherent framework that will create a highly entrepreneurial sector that is characterized by innovative and competitive businesses that are supported by a rewarding institutional and regulatory environment. The achievement of the policy goals and objectives will therefore necessitate a partnership between key stakeholders within the public and private sectors and by associations representing the MSMEs." End of quote. In this regard then, the University of Technology, Jamaica, insightfully tagged the People's University, and I know DK would like that, is playing its part by being the first institution of its kind offering a specialized degree in entrepreneurship and also hosting under its umbrella a highly touted business incubator system. Under our business incubator called the Technology Innovation Center, the TIC, we have had clients winning numerous local and international awards, with two, Tyrone Wilson and Gordon Swaby, receiving the prestigious 50 Under 50 Award for Excellence in Youth Entrepreneurship by the Government of Jamaica in 2012. Then again, there's also Mrs. Valerie Grant, another client of the incubator here on the campus of UTech. She's Managing Director of Geotech Vision Enterprises, and she has also won several prizes, including the Commonwealth Woman Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the NCB National Builders Award in the category Women in Business, and the Business Excellence Forum of the Americas Award for Female Entrepreneur of the Year in 2015. And these are just some of the awards that have been given to clients of the incubator, which is part of the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership. In the latest report from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, GEM, it was shown that 85% of working-age Jamaicans agreed with the statement that most people in the country consider starting a business as a desirable career choice. Entrepreneurship as a career path is highly recognized and applauded in this country. Indeed, much status is accorded to successful Jamaican entrepreneurs, as according to the same GEM report, 85% in the category 18 to 64 age group also supported the statement that in this country, successful entrepreneurs receive high status. Incidentally, this GEM report, which is an international research tool, is produced right here in J.D. Seal under the College of Business and Management by our lecturers, all done for the nation of Jamaica. It is therefore most fitting, ladies and gentlemen, that as I welcome you to this signal event, the John Duncan Memorial Lecture, that I inform you of this important role being played by the school, which is fostering growth and entrepreneurial development in Jamaica. And it is also therefore with a deep sense of honor and humility that I have the distinct pleasure of bringing you greetings and welcoming you to this 5th lecture series. This is the 5th annual John Duncan Memorial Lecture, and it is in aid of recognizing the benefactor for the school, who is Joan Duncan, and it recognizes the contributions that persons have made in the field of entrepreneurship, as well as in the area of ethics and leadership, because that's the name of the school, Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership. So each year we decide to concentrate on different aspects of that subject. One year we'll do entrepreneurship, another year we will do ethics, and another year leadership. This year we're looking at the area of leadership, as I said, as part of the tripartite aspect of the school, and leadership in particular related to politics, so political leadership, and how that has affected the growth and development of our country. And of course we have the icon, Dr. D.K. Duncan, who is a stalwart in the area, who is going to dissect this subject. And of course we have a set of panelists, very qualified panelists, looking at various aspects of leadership. And that's going to be interesting. The John Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership is the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, offering a BSc degree in entrepreneurship. And that's an achievement in itself. In addition, the school and indeed the university is the first of its kind too to have as part and parcel of its portfolio an incubator, a business incubator. So you'll find in the John Duncan School of Entrepreneurship the Technology Innovation Center, which is well known throughout Jamaica as one of the incubators, one of the first incubators in Jamaica. And so we have clients within the incubator who are there to network, to be mentored in terms of developing their businesses, and students interact with these live clients, these live entrepreneurs, and at the same time learn from them. And that in itself is a tremendous experience. So that is the basis in terms of the school. Each student, when they come to do the degree, unlike the other conventional students within the university, they have to come with a business idea. So the entire 4 years of development is surrounded a business idea that they may have, and then they look at the various aspects of developing that idea, including the business model, canvas, including looking at accounting for your business, finance, marketing, sales, and so on, all surrounding the business. So at the end of the period of when they're about to graduate, they should be ready to start a business.
They've asked me to talk on a question that people ask me every day, do politicians really believe polls, and are polls authentic? And I have a very easy answer to both of them, which I will share in the gathering. But yeah, I've been in polling for over 30 years, and I've survived political polling because politicians believe in what they hear, They don't always use it the way they should, and some of them fall awry as a result. But generally, I believe that politicians do place a lot of reliance on polls and actually use it for all kinds of strategies.
We go to a break. Stay with us. Much more after this.
Get your new ride this Christmas with BM Drive Auto Loan Special. Reduced interest rate on all vehicles new and used. And 1-day loan approval. And low monthly payments. And $10,000 gas free for the first 25 applicants. And a sweet car care package. With BM Drive Auto Loan, you could have a very Merry Christmas. Apply today. Offer ends December 21st. For more information, contact 876-754-8627. BM Drive Auto Loan, because you're going places.
Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old. end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 crawl spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's join our presenter on stage.
The manifesto of one party was a little more bread, a little more butter. And of the other was self-government and education. Anecdotally, it is said that the answer to the larger vision of self-government and education, the answer was that education can eat. Huh? And I don't know if we see, I'll only ask the question, if we see any manifestations of that kind of political behavior in our society at this time. It might have been a necessary thing to deal with the immediate needs of people. But in the end, without vision, the people perish. So a lot of things added up in the early years and the origins of political tribalism, and it developed through the years, the 40s, the 50s, into the 60s. It carried with it not only the distribution of housing in a partisan way, political violence, unions against unions, then later on political parties against political parties on election day in particular, then it spread. It spread. All of that came about under the leadership of political leadership at the time. So we can clearly say that from time to time, the political leadership in Jamaica has enabled actions which could lay the basis for retarding growth. Because if you're going to divert your workers from the kind of behavior that is necessary for increased productivity, obviously that's a part of the whole growth matrix. Recently, last week, Peter Bunting made his presentation in Parliament, and he asked the question, why is growth important? He didn't answer it himself, except by saying yes, but he quoted from an author who said, people at this point in time in world history, people are demanding their governments do more to impose their life, to improve their lives faster, something which policymakers are unable to deliver under conditions of anemic growth. Rising income inequality and a stagnant economy are threats to both the developed and the developed world, and leaders can no longer afford to ignore this gathering storm. But we have had this kind of situation in Jamaica for some 40 years, or more anemic growth. What is, I think, encouraging at this point is that there seems to be a convergence between the two political parties on some fundamentals in relation to macroeconomic stability, which I understand is necessary, if not necessarily sufficient, for growth to occur at some time. This has not been so for many, many years. It began in earnest just a few years ago with Peter Phillips and what they call the Economic Reform Program, which the people of Jamaica saw as the austerity program and voted them out, and has been continued by the present administration with the mantra of hoping for prosperity. Now, Dr. Nigel Clark, in a speech to at the Jamaica Pegasus last Thursday, indicated the areas of macroeconomic indicators, etc., that are not only being followed now, but were initiated in a very substantive and substantial way in the last few years. But at the end of it, he says, economic growth, however, has lagged. In the discourse and the dialogue that has taken place in the last budget debate and in the recent week or two, there has been, what has been missing from it is the approach, an approach which has been over the past years been seen to be blaming either Peter or Paul. Right? So that to me represents an advance in the way that the political leadership is handling our economy. In some of the ways over the past, in particular after political independence, that governments have tried to answer the question of speaking to the demands of the masses of the Jamaican people, whether it is 1838, whether it is 1938, whether it is now, right? Was to try to, when we got into office, either administration, was to try to coax the bureaucracy into implementing what the policies of the various administrations are. In the 60s, we had a plethora, if you remember, of institutions called statutory boards. That was a response by the political leadership to the demands of the people for improvement in their lives, because the bureaucracy that we had inherited from the British was stodgy and didn't move very well. That was followed by things called executive agencies. Politicians themselves, the leaders, some of us even went overboard with the appointments of aides, whether special assistants, personal assistants, all kinds of assistants, to try to ameliorate the policy delivery, the program delivery process. But those have ended up in a public sector which now is in need of, and has been in need of, reform for donkey's years. I could go on and on to give examples of how our political leadership in attempting to address the needs of the people. I don't, from my own experience interfacing with politicians, I don't accept that the vast majority of us intend to go in there and get rich quickly. I have dealt with many politicians, and they have, most of them that I know, have gone into this thing with a good heart.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We have more highlights for you after this.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just tuning in, we're here at the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture with DK Duncan. Now for more highlights.
I know the topic for this afternoon, political leadership, an enabler or disabler to Jamaica's economic growth. When I look at the history of Jamaica, going back, I think, before independence, and you look at the various periods of times, the different parties that have come in and out to help to manage and guide this country. If we take independence until now, pretty much, I think you could say the two major parties have been at the wicket almost, don't hold me to it, but almost equal. Almost. And I think when parties go into power, they tend not to want to continue things that the other side started. And so you get a lot of energy being spent reversing things, trying to put something new in place. And it's time, energy, it's money that's lost, that's just gone. Whether it could be something simple as repainting a school because they didn't like the color that it was painted, and I've seen examples of this in my growing up days. It's only recently, I think, that we have come to appreciate the power of, I should say, good policy continuity. And we've just seen that demonstrated most recently with the most recent IMF agreement, the most recent program. We didn't spend time saying we're going to try to renegotiate the program.
I believe that the most essential resource for development in any nation, any country, is a God-fearing, well-rounded citizenry whose basic physical needs are adequately met, their communities governed daily by sustainable values, and a well-educated populace, while the national affairs are managed by God-fearing leaders of impeccable integrity and moral rectitude, totally committed to human flourishing and the common good. Any form of leadership which is not guided and undergirded by the Judeo-Christian values under God will inevitably be a disabler to sustainable economic growth. As I listened to the presenter, I noticed that some of the challenges that he highlighted could be better handled and balanced by persons who are consistently submitting to the values of God, guided by the Spirit of God. I believe that a major question leaders in the political arena, and all leaders, but particularly in the political arena, since we're focusing on that this evening, is that once ask the question and grapple with who is your ultimate authority. Am I ultimately accountable to God or to the party, my political party, or the various stakeholders who got me into office? To whom am I ultimately accountable? And once we have a clear understanding of that, then it would better enable us to make the right decisions which will redound to the best interest and welfare of the constituents. Political leadership has both enabled and disabled economic growth at different points in our history, as some of them were highlighted. And I believe that where there is creative tension among three pillars: relationship with God, relationship with the citizens, quality relationship with the citizens, and also quality relationship with the private sector, donor agency, and external governments, all this undergirded by the Judeo-Christian values and principles, then we will see political leadership being an enabler rather than a disabler.
My personal big takeaway from this discussion today is around the values, that we must have politics that are based on values. And that leads us to, once you create that value set that you live inside of, that last statement by Dr. Duncan, then gives you what is your own social consciousness that you live in, which then gives you that ideology. How do we articulate that ideology so that we can have a shared value set, a shared belief system, a shared system of belief in how our society should evolve, that would cause us to be empowered to get that kind of inclusive growth, is a question I think that we are left here to answer. Because we have not, over the years, we have kind of lost that, and we've become very transactional in the politics, really actually broken down to the point where as we say in Jamaica, we buy votes. That has to stop, so that instead of buying votes, people vote because they have true hope, not hope in jingling, not hope in growth as a thing in and of itself, but growth with a basis of creating the kind of society that we want, creating the value set that we want.
That brings us to the end of our coverage of the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. Until next time, I'm Javon Keys. Stay tuned to Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Good evening. Welcome to BATV News. I'm Garth Williams. $11.3 billion. That's how much delinquent borrowers owe the Students' Loan Bureau, SLB, as at the end of February 2018. An Auditor General's report revealed the figure during this morning's sitting of the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee. Jamila Maitland reports.
Several policy reform is expected to be implemented at the Students' Loan Bureau following recommendations from an Auditor General's report. The report, which examined the management of the SLB's loan portfolio, revealed that there was some $11.3 billion owed in non-performing loans over the last 5 years. Non-performing loans grew by $10.3 billion as at February 2018 after only registering $1 billion in 2013.
We believe that SLB needs to have a robust system in place to ensure timely monitoring and intervention to minimize as far as possible the rate of delinquency for high-risk loans.
The report also revealed that between 2010 and 2017, $35.8 million was collected from guarantors after the borrowers failed to repay the loans. SLB Executive Director Monica Brown acknowledged that the socioeconomic status of guarantors may have changed since the loan was dispersed. They're not always able to collect the full amount from them.
The fact is, when we accept persons as guarantor when the loan application is being processed, they satisfy the requirements in terms of income and ability to pay in the event that the borrower does not pay. When the student completes studies and the loan ends up becoming delinquent, this is 5 years, 7 years down the road. So in some cases, when we approach the guarantors, the capacity to pay has changed. Some may have lost jobs, some may have some other circumstances which prevent them from honoring the obligation.
She explained that oftentimes, loans are not repaid until 9 months after the starting date, but by then, the borrower is already deemed delinquent.
The data shows that on average, 15 months after completion, and about 9 months after the loan gets into repayment stage in January, about 9 months after the average student starts to repay their loans. But at 90 days, we are saying that the loans are delinquent, and they are not being paid because of certain circumstances. There's no income that is flowing to them yet because they are not yet employed. So we have to review how we move forward with that.
It was also revealed that there was a $7.9 billion in loans referred to the debt collectors to those owing loans for a year. They managed to recover almost $1 billion of the amount. That is why Financial Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Darlene Morrison, says the SLB will be pursuing automatic salary deduction from borrowers.
We are certainly pursuing automatic repayments once persons start earning. That we are doing.
For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Meanwhile, PAC members are questioning a $52 million system that the Student Loan Bureau purchased from eGov to assist with loan management. However, some 6 years later, the system has become problematic and is unable to meet the SLB's operational needs. Here's more.
After investing $51.7 million in a loan management system, the SLB is now being forced to purchase another one. SLB representatives told members of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee that the system purchased from eGov was not capable of handling the task required. This was in addition to 4 others that the organization had, none of which were capable of fulfilling the operational needs.
You spent $50-odd million to get a system developed for you by eGov, I think it was, yes, which is your main loan management system. The report indicates that you actually have 4 different systems that you're currently using. That main one, which is problematic, and 3 others. The response to the report from the Ministry of Finance indicates that there has been a decision approved by the Public Investment Management Committee in 2017 to acquire a new information technology system, and a project manager was engaged in July.
The Auditor General's report revealed that the current system generates incorrect balances of borrowers and caused major challenges for loan tracking.
How much information has slipped through the cracks that we are not really accounting for because of the shortfall or the shortcomings of your system? It would be a concern that I would have.
And you superimposed on this the shift from add-on accrual to reducing balance on a creaking software system. How did you cope with that? How was that done? What did that do in terms of your ability to even generate statements of each account balance on an accurate basis?
Meanwhile, SLB Executive Director Monica Brown said since the system was implemented in 2012, the loan agency has had numerous disruptions. She pointed out that they have been working with the developers to correct the issue. However, she admits that the system cannot be upgraded.
So, having recognized that it is not highly probable that this system will get us to where we want in terms of the support, a decision was taken to acquire a new system, an enterprise management information system, to support the expanded operations of the Bureau. We acquired the services of a project manager, and he has started his work since July, I think the 9th of July.
The new system is expected to be ready by 2021. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Jamaicans in the agricultural sector are set to benefit from 20 short-term orientation programs in Israel. These are aimed at exposing participants to advanced farming technologies and techniques. Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw says the program will run 3 to 4 weeks at a time, and participants are expected to return to Jamaica with expertise to grow the local sector. He says it's expected that at the end of the program, participants would have achieved 50% average growth in export sales over 3 years and entered at least one new export market. The minister was speaking recently at the launch of Export Max 3. Export Max is in its 3rd year. The program is geared at providing focused capacity building, advocacy and market penetration support to 50 exporters and export-ready firms. Meanwhile, Minister Shaw noted that programs which will help integrate micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, into the global value chain are commendable. He pointed out that the development and adherence to international standards will allow them to better access foreign markets. The Export Max 3 program is being implemented in partnership with the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association and the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. The government says it's developing a national action plan to transition household workers and fisherfolk to the formal economy. The initiative is being spearheaded by the Ministry of Labor and Social Security through support from the International Labour Organization ILO. Recently, a 2-day consultative workshop was held at the ministry's North Street offices in Kingston to get the input of various stakeholders towards the development of the action plan. Portfolio Minister Shahini Robinson, in her remarks at the event, noted that the value of work performed in the informal economy is well established. She said that in moving to formalize work arrangements in the fisheries and domestic work sectors, careful investigations must be done to establish the factors that drive informality. The workshop, part of a series titled Transitioning from Informality to Formality, followed on a development cooperation pilot project carried out in collaboration with the ILO during 2015 to 2016. And when we return, Supreme Ventures betting up and running in Guyana. This and more after the break.
The Nissan X-Trail with All-Mode Eye Technologies. No matter what the road throws at you, your story starts here.
Get your new ride this Christmas with BM Drive Auto Loan Special. Reduced interest rate on all vehicles new and used. And 1-day loan approval. And low monthly payments. And $10,000 gas free for the first 25 applicants. And a sweet car care package. With VM Drive Auto Loan, you could have a very Merry Christmas. Apply today. Offer ends December 21st. For more information, contact 876-754-8627. VM Drive Auto Loan, because you're going places.
At westernunion.com, you can send here for cash there. Spoil them with gifts even if you're far away. Visit woo.com and start sending for a $0 transfer fee today. Call 926-2454 for more details. Western Union also makes money from currency exchange. Fees and exchange rates may vary and are subject to change.
Welcome back. Supreme Ventures Limited has begun a phased operations rollout in Guyana. The company will first offer its horse racing products. Sashana Small has more.
After accumulating $46 billion in revenues and more than $1.5 billion in net profit during the last quarter, Supreme Ventures is expanding its operations to Guyana. But this has been in the making for some time, as in March of this year, the company signed an agreement with the Guyana Gaming Company and subsequently received its betting shop license from the Guyana Revenue Authority. Supreme Ventures Limited says extensive research was done about the Guyanese market, and it's confident that it can add value to it.
Because it represents a huge potential and upside for the company. It is an underserved and underdeveloped gaming market.
However, the rollout of the betting and gaming giants operation will be done in phases. In phase 1, which will begin this month, the company will start the implementation of its horse racing products. This will feature wagering on races simulcast from Caymanas Park and North America, and also video gaming terminals with sports-themed games. Supreme Ventures has also acquired a building in the heart of Georgetown, from which it will operate a superstore with a lounge and its horse racing business. In 2009, the company hopes to have 2 more super outlets and 17 standard outlets.
Phase 2 will entail expanding the retail network because we're only opening 1 store in Georgetown. Now we have to build out Georgetown and then to go into the other main towns, Linden, Bartica, New Amsterdam, and then build out rurally.
Supreme Ventures' entry into the Guyanese market will see it competing against the Princess Hotel and Casino and the Guyana Lottery for market share. The business will be operated through Supreme Ventures Guyana Holdings Incorporated and Supreme Ventures Enterprise Incorporated. For BATV News, I'm Sashana Small.
Jamaica's export earnings went up for the period up to September 2018. However, the country still
in January and September was valued at $1.28 billion. However, the country's trade deficit still went up, amounting to $3.19 billion compared to the $3.05 billion over the same period last year. The deficit increased because total spending on imports went up by 10%, moving from $4.04 billion last year to $4.48 billion this year. The main contributors to the increase were the group's mineral fuels, machinery and transport equipment, chemicals, manufactured goods, and food. Spending on imports from the U.S. was valued at $2.04 billion, up 14.6%. Meanwhile, earnings from total exports to the USA amounted to $428 million, an increase of 9.7%. This resulted in the trade deficit with the USA increasing by 15.9%, amounting to $1.61 billion. Jamaica's trade deficit with CARICOM stood at $324.3 million as at August 2018, up by 5.4%. While total exports to CARICOM were valued at $56.2 million, almost 7% below the value of goods exported for the corresponding period last year. For BATV News, I'm Norda Francis Williams.
Meanwhile, Statin says the Producer Price Index PPI for the mining and quarry industry increased by 0.5% in October 2018. Here's Dimitri Monroe with the latest figures.
Statin says the increase was mainly due to a 0.6% jump in the index for the major group, bauxite mining and alumina processing. The index for the manufacturing industry also recorded an increase for October, going up by 1.3%. This increase was attributable to an increase in the index for the highest weighted major group, food, beverages and tobacco, which moved up by 0.4%, while the major group refined petroleum products increased by 3.5%. Meanwhile, there was a 3.4% decline in the point-to-point movement in the index for the mining and quarrying industry for October 2017 to October 2018. The manufacturing industry advanced by 9.8% in its index during that period also. This movement was due mainly to increases in the major groups, refined petroleum products, which went up by 38.8%, and food, beverages, and tobacco up by 4.1%. In the meantime, for the fiscal year to date, April 2018 to October 2018, the index for the mining and quarrying industry and the manufacturing industry recorded increases of 8.5% and 7.2% respectively. For BATV News, I am Dimitri Monroe.
Regional and international stories are up next. Welcome back. Time now for regional and international of the Caribbean single market and economy. TTT News' Janine Brown reports.
As the CSME talks got off the ground Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said he sees the meeting coming into fruition as a step in the right direction.
So far the discussion has been very positive. We've had the private sector and labor joining in a way that they haven't been before. And most of what is being said now, that we are on the same page. At the end of the proceedings tomorrow, we will know how indelible the ink is.
The talks stem out of a call by Dr. Rowley back in 2017 when he attended the 38th regular Heads of Government meeting in Grenada. On that occasion, he said, "I get the impression that all we are willing to do is talk this issue to death." The Caribbean single market and economy was born out of an agreement in the 1989 Grand Anse Declaration. Implementation work began in 2006, but was halted in 2008 due to the global financial crisis. And even as member states have since expressed an individual desire to get the ball rolling, they have collectively failed to do so. According to Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, the lull in implementation is partially due to member states not making the necessary tough decisions. He said Monday's CSME conversation raises other key concerns, such as finding a way to simplify movement between member states.
The fact that we have so many problems getting to each other's countries in the region is a serious problem. Sometimes it's easier to go to Miami and London than it is to go to some islands in the Caribbean from Grenada. So clearly we can't be talking single market and economy and not have means of making contact with each other physically and otherwise.
Meanwhile, St. Lucia's Prime Minister Dr. Alan Chastanet said the region can no longer be divided.
I think we have to go back to the basis. Can we survive independently? And I don't think there's any scenario that any one of the countries in the CARICOM can survive by themselves.
Asked how the region can learn from the current fallout of Britain from the EU, Dr. Chastanet said the region can write a book on political unions failing in some instances, as he referenced the short-lived West Indies Federation. He said what's most important is that the region learns from its own mistakes so as not to repeat them. Janine Brown, TTT News.
The government in Guyana has banned the hosting of events behind the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown. Here's why.
One day after the Ministry of Public Infrastructure announced a ban on beach parties behind the Marriott Hotel, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson has explained that the move was triggered by court action filed by the parent company for the Marriott Hotel in Guyana. Speaking to News Source this morning, Mr. Patterson said the Atlantic Holdings Incorporated, which owns the Marriott Hotel, has moved to the courts over the hosting of events with loud noise behind its property, following several complaints from guests of the hotel.
Well, what was done is that the Atlantic Holding Inc., which is the owner of the Marriott, have moved to the court for an injunction against the ministry for prohibiting, permitting any activities, and that's based on a noise nuisance. During the day, they've sent supporting claims from guests, including during the Cricket World Cup, the Indian team and the Irish team. So as an interim measure, we have had to suspend and cease all applications, and hopefully, if possible, we can arrive at some resolution.
The Marriott Hotel had also filed a number of complaints to the police following events hosted at the beach just behind the hotel that would go on into the early mornings, with loud music pounding through the air and affecting its guests. Additionally, there were also complaints about cars being parked blocking the entrance and exits to the hotel compound, including those for staff. Another hotel in the same area and some residents of Kingston had also raised some concern. Minister Patterson said the main complaint was about night events.
Well, the main complaint was at night. So if there's a possibility, we can get a resolution whereby you can have it during the days and those things like that. When the guests are not, and then have a level in noise, agreed noise level, then maybe we can look for. But right now we had to do a total ban because we're in court.
The first major event hosted in the area was back in December of last year. The promoter of that event was forced to move the event away from directly behind the hotel after it filed complaints when it could not get him to agree to pay a cost for use of the public area. Since then, a number of other events were hosted in the area, including a recent stage show with international artists that went on into the early morning hours.
French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe today announced the suspension of the controversial fuel tax increases planned for January 1, in a move aimed at bringing an end to weeks of violent yellow vest protests against the tax. Here's more in this report.
For over a year, Emmanuel Macron's government has refused to give in to street protesters, a strategy they've managed to keep until now. In a highly anticipated speech,
convinced that the state must remain strong and firm. But it is first and foremost the guarantor of public peace. Setting a course and sticking with it is a necessity in order to govern France, but no tax should endanger the unity of the nation.
The concessions include a 6-month suspension of 3 fiscal measures, including the fuel tax hike, a temporary halt in plans to tighten automobile maintenance tests, freezing upcoming increases in electricity costs until May of next year, and a plan to create national dialogue on taxes and public spending. One of the Yellow Vest movement's main demands was that the government permanently suspend the tax increase. They had also asked for a higher minimum wage and the reinstatement of a wealth tax that President Macron abolished last year, 2 proposals the Prime Minister did not address. Some have already called for another round of demonstrations next Saturday. Perhaps in anticipation of another protest, the Prime Minister said it must be declared in advance and take place calmly, warning that authorities would use all necessary means to enforce law and order. Saturday's unrest was among the worst France has seen in decades. In Paris alone, more than 400 people were arrested and over 100 injured.
Farmers in Myanmar's Shan State say coal mining operations are causing widespread environmental damage. Bordering China and Laos, Shan State is home to several ethnic groups and is only partly under control of Myanmar's government. Activists warn that pollution levels are increasing as mining operations across the state continue to grow. Al Jazeera's Rob McBride reports.
Mines like this one are largely closed off to the outside world and have to be filmed discreetly. But the people living near them say there is no escaping the pollution they cause to their farmland and waterways. Sai Aoun farms just a couple of fields that he says are now ruined.
Since the company started to mine for coal, I've lost the water for my farm.
My land is covered with coal dust and I can't grow any crops.
All around this area in Myanmar's eastern Shan state is evidence of mining operations. Recent changes in regulations mean foreign companies can now invest in medium and large-scale mining. The government has defended its increasing use of coal to meet the country's electricity needs, despite objections from environmental groups. And civil society groups who have been educating people on their legal rights say the relative stability in Myanmar could lead to a mining boom.
At first, we thought it's a great idea for development in our community, but in fact, it's not good. It's getting worse and destroying us.
Given the state's proximity to China, many investors are Chinese, but companies from Japan and Australia are also interested. And there are fears about a lack of regulation of environmental and safety standards in this remote part of the country. This underground fire at one mine was filmed by a monk who does not want to reveal his identity for his own safety.
We don't expect the government to fix this because the problem comes from the government. They are cooperating with military and foreign investors.
We are very concerned for our safety because we are a small local group and we're fighting against people who have a lot of money and power.
Opening up to the outside world has been a boost for people in other parts of Myanmar, but for many in this area, the existence of coal under their fields and outside investment is proving a toxic combination. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks is next.
Get your new ride this Christmas with VM Drive Auto Loan Special. Reduced interest rate on all vehicles new and used. And one-day loan approval. And low monthly payments. And $10,000 gas free for the first 25 applicants. And a sweet car care package. With VM Drive Auto Loan, you could have a very Merry Christmas. Apply today. Offer ends December 21st. For more information, contact 876-754-8627. VM Drive Auto Loan, because you're going places.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, for your Christmas this year. May the happiness you seek be forever with you. Merry Christmas, for your Christmas this year. May the happiness you find bring you love. May the happiness that
Welcome back. It's now time for Talking Stocks. 57 stocks traded today, of which 22 advanced, 27 declined, and 8 traded firm. The main JC index advanced by some 106 points to close at over 394,000. The junior index advanced by 19 points to close at 3,197. Almost 7 million units traded today, valued at over $90 million on the Jamaican dollar market, while on the US dollar market, over 72,000 units traded, valued at over 14,000 US dollars. Wisynco Group ordinary shares with over 2.6 million units trading accounted for over a third of market volume. Key Insurance Company ordinary shares with a little over 1 million units trading was second, and Stanley Motor ordinary shares with more than 500,000 units trading was third, accounting for 7% of market volume crossing the floor. The main advances were Paramount Trading ordinary shares up 77 cents to close at $2.97, followed by Palace Amusement Company up $150 to close at $1,450, and Key Insurance Company ordinary shares up 50 cents to close at $5. The main decliners were Pulse Investments down 36 cents to close at $3.24, followed by Stationery and Office Supplies down 62 cents to close at $7.58, and Elite Diagnostic down 23 cents to close at $2.89. And that's all the news, but before we go, a recap of our top story. Delinquent borrowers owe the Students' Loan Bureau SLB some $11.3 billion as at the end of February 2018. An Auditor General's report revealed the figure during this morning's sitting of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Garth Williams. Pleasant viewing.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, serious about business.
There is evidence of urban planning and designed communities dating back to the Mesopotamian, Indus Valley, Minoan, and Egyptian civilizations in the 3rd millennium BC. The ruins of cities were found to have paved streets that were laid out at right angles in a grid pattern. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the idea of urban planning grew at an exponential rate with the rise of industrialized cities. The first academics course on urban planning was offered by the University of Liverpool in 1909. The profession as an urban planner came into being. Let's find out more on this episode of Career Moves.
I'm Zanetta Scott, and I'm an urban planner. Urban planning is the management of space. That's the best definition I can give. It marries so many fields. It marries design, land use, emergency management, transportation planning, basically anything that has to do with how space is laid out and managed.
So how did this interest in planning develop?
So I went to Arden High School, and it was a great opportunity, and it was very dynamic in terms of all the subjects that we were exposed to, and so we had this full gamut of options, you know, when we were choosing what we wanted to become. Geography was my favorite subject. I loved how interactive it was, you know, not necessarily because I was a tree hugger, but I just loved seeing maps come to life. We had a lot of site visits, a lot of field trips. We went to caves, and all of that built a love for land and a love for the sense of space. And so I always wanted to find a career that would place me, you know, somewhere that I'm always outside in the field working. That was a big thing for me in terms of when I wanted to choose my career. I do have a love for art as well. And so it was always between architecture and urban planning. And so eventually I chose urban planning because it is more diverse. And I mean, I love to draw, but I found that urban planning could give me that as well. Another plus was that I wasn't too inclined to do sixth form, and I found out that urban planning, which is taught at the University of Technology, doesn't require, you know, CAPE subjects, so that was a plus for me, you know. I went straight from high school to university.
Being accepted in a tertiary institution comes with anxiety, especially when starting courses not previously exposed to. This is how Zanetta Scott approached urban planning.
I did a lot of research before I got there, but when I went to UTech, I found that the concept of what planning really is wasn't so well defined to persons outside of the space, you know. I found myself often explaining what an urban planner is, what we do, but inside that environment, you know, it really exposed our minds to really how important this career is. Form has to marry function, and it has to match function somehow. So we can't have like a hospital next to a garbage dump. And it's planners who create land use plans and land use maps and determine the best layout of space. And that's why when you want to expand your house and you go to the parish council would then assess your plan and determine if, this house makes sense with the grand scheme of things. Everything has to fall into a master plan, and it's urban planners who identify all the underlying factors and overarching factors that have to do with how land works best. And so we look at, is there a river nearby that would make this factory, not suitable to be built here, or what's the best potential layout for this road? These are the things that we consider, and also the human implication. That's a thing that planning really looks at, the human and social implications of development. Do we do mass development and then forget about small communities? Do we do all high-rise and then forget about single lots? Where do we put parks? Do we need parks? All of those things, that's what we do in planning.
Urban planners usually specialize in different areas. Zanetta explains her specific role as a planner and highlights some of the popular ones in Jamaica.
Though I'm an urban planner by profession, I'm an environmental planner by practice. So I work in housing, and when we come up with new projects or new ideas for projects, we do have to get permission or approvals from various regulatory agencies to make sure that this new project, works with all the development guidelines that exist. And so I prepare all those submissions, to get environmental approvals. I also prepare proposals for new projects. We see a plot of land and we come up with all the various ideas for what we could use that land for and how best to provide housing, especially for low-income persons. Other than environmental planning, which is the field I'm in, you have tourism planners, you have social planners, you have economic planners, disaster management planners, transportation planners, and all of that ties into some aspect of managing land and people.
Interested to know what goes on in a day in the life of an urban planner? Here's a brief summary based on the sector Zanetta works in and the position she has.
For me, as an urban planner who's in housing, my day can look different. For most days, I'm in the office. We have various projects that are in various stages of planning. Some we're just conceptualizing, some the designs are done and we need to rush them out for approvals. Sometimes you may need to visit a site. Sometimes you may need to visit a community that's already built up. Sometimes we find out about a new project or a potential new project, and we want to go out there and see, could this work? Could this be a viable project, for houses? Could we put houses here? But mostly it's in the office. That's my planning experience. It's different for everybody in planning. I interface a lot with all the regulatory agencies, lots of calls. Yes, Senator, your plans are still, being processed. So it's a very rewarding experience daily. I've always enjoyed being an urban planner as long as I've been one.
The course started in the mid to early 1970s. It's still the first of its kind in Jamaica and in the Caribbean still.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point. Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would kill people.
I think they're responsible for the design of urban developments, as in the location of hospitals, schools, supermarkets, where is ideal to build a housing development, especially considering an area that is prone to certain disasters. They have to know the areas which are at high risk for floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, stuff like that, and build urban developments in a safe way so that the persons who live there are ensured safety and security.
Well, urban planners, their duty is to ensure that certain businesses or certain places of business are in the correct location. So for example, you have housing quarters and you have hospitals, police stations, and all the other areas that persons in the general public have to access.
Urban planners basically decide if a certain area is fit for hospitals, businesses, living quarters, that kind of stuff.
I'm Earl Bailey, Dr. Bailey, some persons say, a lecturer here at UTEC in the Faculty of Built Environment, School of Building and Land Management. The course started in the mid to early 1970s. It's still the first of its kind in Jamaica and in the Caribbean still. It began out of a need to increase the cadre of planners in the Caribbean, so it became a training hub for the Caribbean region where there were no professions that are involved in these areas of housing development beyond the physical construction, because they were more concerned about creating communities than building housing schemes, which are two separate things. So persons who were trained in housing, transportation, waste management, disaster mitigation and planning, urban governance, settlement design, urban design, all the things that were coming from the industrial period in North America and the Renaissance period in Europe. There was nothing in the Caribbean to facilitate development post-emancipation, post-emancipation and post-slavery and post-independence. So the program began to fill that gap back in those days. It has evolved a lot since then to include other elements that deal with even urban psychology, urban economics, regional development, which is sometimes overlooked at the expense of urban development. So from the 70s until now, we have been here offering the program.
Interested in a career in urban planning? Here are the prerequisites to get acceptance into the University of Technology.
Students coming through the CAPE and CXC, you need 5 O-levels, or if you are a mature student who has been working in a relevant field for a number of years and you can pass the interview, then you're accepted on a mature level basis. We also take transfer from other faculties, from other universities all over the world. So there are different modes of entry into the program. How you come in depends on how you are placed. For example, you may leave a university in England and have done 2 years of planning there. So we'll come here and look at your transcript and see if you should come into the 3rd year here or go back to 1st year, whatever the case is. Or even when you come in as a mature entry, look at your profile and decide where you can be placed. Something could be in the 3rd year and in 1st year or 2nd year courses. So it depends on the different modes of entry. But we have different flexibilities for different persons who want to come in. Normally we take in on average 40 students per year. The cost of doing the program is specified by the university. It is on the website. The cost is also managed by students because they may decide to do only 4 credits this semester, and the cost is per credit. So you may not pay that full cost for the entire year. It depends on the number of credits you choose to do for that semester.
Having gotten accepted to study urban planning, what amount of work am I looking at? And what kind of graduate does the program produce?
The course content, it's wide and it's narrow. Of course, they're divided in core courses that are planning specific courses. We have general courses like psychology, sociology, quantitative studies, and then we have electives. So students must do all the planning core courses like urban planning, urban theory, urban designing, which is crucial. So urban designing is similar to architecture, but the architect does the design for the building, while the planner designs the actual city. So it's a more wider design field. We also do construction. So the students must be au fait with all disciplines in the built environment. So the students have to be aware of real estate discipline, of land evaluation, of land surveying, of construction, architecture, and all the sociology, and all the other things. Governance and policy economics, political science are all part of the planning program. We also do heritage conservation, transport planning, and a whole lot of things. Students complain that the course is too much. But it stands up good with other courses out there in our universities. What kind of person is produced after completing the Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning? Somebody who has an eye to put different things together. It's more than a critical thinker, it's a constructive thinker. So when you think of a development for a hotel construction, what are the windfall effects of putting in 6,000 rooms in a rural community down in Trelawney? Let's say, for example, a rural community in Trelawney with about 400 persons live in the community. And they are very, very Christian, very traditional Christians. Everybody wear long skirt down to them ankle. They go to Sunday night meeting, Wednesday night meeting, women's meeting, fellowship and everything. And they're very conservative, very traditional. And then somebody go in and put up a hotel inside there. If you then see people walking in bikini, persons of the same sex hugging up and kissing, the entire community is shocked by this new culture. There was no pre-education of the community to now operate within this new culture of tourism. So suddenly the community moved from Christian farming community to a tourism community without them being aware of how to operate within this world. So planning ensures that these cultural shocks don't take place. So that person is able to look at the impact of that development on the community at local level and on the region where it is located and the country in general.
After completing studies, Dr. Bailey explains what possibilities exist for being gainfully employed.
What are the job opportunities for an urban planner? Public, private, more so in the public sector. Most of us are involved in, like I said before, we do development plans for urban areas, for regional areas. So we also look at development management. So NEPA is full of planners. So is UDC, so is Housing Trust, so is SDC, Social Development Commission. The parish councils are full of planners. Companies that do estate management and planning, that manage physical properties, land. So issues that do with land development, planners are there. Issues that deal with transportation, they are there. With housing, they are there. All the ministries that deal with all different sectors. So like medicine, you specialize in, you can be a housing planner, a transport planner, a disaster planner, or you be a general planner, as the case may be. So avenues for abroad, like in Australia, Canada, and Germany, planners are big in those areas. The importance of a career in urban planning and the need for planning is evident. I'll tell you now, just out of Canada, in Canada, urban planning is one of the top most important jobs in Canada. Unfortunately, it's a much bigger discipline in the developed countries than it is in third world countries like Jamaica. I think the reason is, well, multiple reasons. One of the reasons is historical, is political, and the fact that planners are involved in doing things that are normally reserved for government, politicians, for example, housing provision. There's a need for us to, in a holistic manner, think of settlement concerns for housing, for utilities like water, sanitation, sewage, waste disposal, transportation, and all those things in one.
Sometimes I think we underexpose our children to all the options that are before them. It's limitless.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We're exploring the field of urban planning with planner Zanetta Scott. Let's find out more on where employment opportunities exist.
In Jamaica, the field of urban planning is mostly and largely represented in government or the public sector. Reason being, we have to do with regulation of land, and so we have the parish councils, ministries of government, agencies of government. You have Water Resources Authority, ODPEM, Mines and Geology. All these regulatory agencies, you will find planners that will determine the best use of resources for that specific niche. So for example, the National Works Agency will have a transportation planner, and you will have disaster management people at ODPEM, things like that. So we're mostly in government, but there is a scope for private sector planners who do large-scale development plans for new housing developments, for example. So you'll find that those planners will prepare subdivision plans, and those subdivision plans, you know, will inform those large housing developments that you see. So you'll find that we're both in the private and the public sector, but more so in the public.
Coupled with daily challenges faced with any job, there's one that stands out in the field of planning.
One of the challenges that urban planners face is that we do a lot of development plans, development proposals, development orders, and sometimes these master plans don't carry the weight of law. So we have a development proposal or the master plan for, say, all of Portmore, and if it's not given the weight of law, we can't implement it. Sometimes we do lovely master plans, and planning can feel very utopic sometimes. We create the ideal scenario for the use of space, and we have to rationalize that with what space is already being used for. Take, for example, Spanish Town, the town center. The roads are very narrow because that town was built many years ago when the cars were few, you know, and nobody was thinking of the bustling city that Spanish Town would be today. And so sometimes we plan and it doesn't consider the whole horizon of time that the space will be used for. I think one of the misconceptions of urban planning or urban planners is that anybody can be one. Sometimes it's taken for granted that this is specialized study. It takes a mind, an analytical mind, to think of all of the possible impacts of our decisions when we use space, how we manage our environment. Because it's so wide and so diverse, it has the consequence, I guess, of anybody, you know, being a planner. But it's very specific as much as it is diverse.
As a planner in housing, here's what Zanetta finds most rewarding.
You get to impact people's lives every day. For me, in housing, I think of the fact that the houses that we design are for a section of the housing market that is underrepresented, in terms of houses are outside of the reach of the pockets of many Jamaicans, and being able to plan for that particular group of people is personally rewarding for me. But on a broader scale, so much urban planning is about community development. It's about going into communities and empowering them with the skills, the access, the opportunities. It gives a voice to disenfranchised communities. It upholds people's right to public space, the right to parks, the right to enjoy open space. And it's us as planners who make sure that those guidelines, are preserved. Planning is a diverse field, and so the compensation package for a planner is just as diverse. It can start from as about $1 million a year for a new planner or a junior planner. You have senior planners, and what I've observed is a lot of senior planners advance to management of departments, of divisions, and so their role becomes more managerial, more so than day-to-day, planning activities. And so a manager's salary can, be very diverse. You can run the whole scope of a senior government officer to, if you're in the private sector, your compensation is dependent on your performance or how many projects you complete in a year. My advice to persons who are considering urban planning is it's a great career to be in. It's a career that will allow you to be creative. Also research it widely. There are different aspects of planning that you can choose to pursue, and your research experience in university will allow you to start honing in on that aspect of planning that you really want to pursue. Get to know the different agencies that have urban planners, find out what they do there. Try to get a summer job at a company that does urban planning so you can see up close their day-to-day planning life. One of the things I learned pretty early is that if you want to choose like CXC or CAPE subjects that will determine what you can study, you have to do that way earlier than 4th or 5th form. Start looking at fields you're interested in. What's your personality type? Do you like to crunch numbers? Do you like to draw? Are you a designer, creative? Are you a person who likes to help others? And just research the kind of fields that tie into who you are. I was always curious about unconventional jobs or unconventional fields, and so that's probably what got me interested in looking up how can I study geography or use geography in my career. And so it would be good if, just to let them know, there are so many options out there. Sometimes you may hear a 5-year-old, what do you want to become? A pediatrician. It's cute to say, and perhaps some of them really do feel a calling to take care of children, but sometimes I think we underexpose our children to all the options that are before them. It's limitless.
eyelashes are considered a sign of beauty in many cultures, and so regardless of the risks, people seek to artificially enhance the look, color, and length of their eyelashes. This week on The Good Life, we look at the trend. Stay with us. I'm here with Tevier Thompson, who's the owner and operator of Lavish Lashes. Hey Tevier.
Hi.
So I hear you prefer to be called Marnie?
Mani.
Mani. So I work with that name. Talk to me about Lavish Lashes. What exactly is it that you guys do?
We offer fusion eyelash extensions only, no other services.
So talk to me about the startup process for Lavish Lashes. Why did you decide to get into the business?
Well, it wasn't really me. I was engaged, and me and my fiance, we started this business. She used to be the one doing the lashes. I was behind the scenes doing the marketing, the entire works.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she passed.
Oh, sorry to hear.
I decided to honor her by continuing the business.
So what's so special about fusion eyelash extensions?
There are 3 types of lash extensions, mainly. Cluster, strips, and fusion.
Okay.
The difference with fusion is the application and how it looks when it's finished. It looks absolutely natural.
Are there any other benefits to fusion lashes as opposed to the lash strips or the clusters?
Yes, there are several benefits. Like I said before, it looks very natural, no one can tell. It lasts much longer as well.
Okay.
It's very light on the eyelids. You don't feel anything, you don't see any glue.
What type of lashes do you use?
There are mainly 3 types of lashes that is used to do this type of lash extension. You have synthetic, mink, and silk. Mink is the most commonly used or the preferred choice of the clients because it's lighter and it looks more feathery. So, of course, it has a more natural look.
And silk lashes are what?
It's made from a synthetic blend material. It's a little bit heavier than the mink, but they still give you that natural look, but not as lovely as the mink.
Okay. So why do you find that women are coming in to get their lashes done?
Well, women have professionals coming through here to get the lashes enhanced because they want that natural look. They don't want anyone to just look at their lashes and know that it has been extended.
Okay.
Clients can choose between the lengths that they want to have their lashes extended. Also, you can choose the thickness, so you can choose the amount of volume that you need for whichever occasion. So we have lashes to suit different individuals for whichever occasion. The length of the lashes ranges between 8 millimeters to 15 millimeters that I use here.
Okay.
Now a client don't necessarily need anything longer than 15 millimeters if they want to have that natural look.
Okay. So why should I choose beauty or fusion lashes as opposed to, you know, the clusters or the lash strips?
It does not damage your lashes, unlike the strips and the cluster like you mentioned before. With the strips and the cluster, everything is done in such a way where your lashes can't breathe, they can't grow independently. So you find that it will damage your lashes. With the fusion lashes, it's about the process, the technique. It is applied single strand by strand. So every natural lash that you have is still able to breathe on its own and to grow on its own and to fall out after it reaches full maturity.
think a lot of people are funny about their eyes. What are some health concerns that people need to consider before, you know, setting up an appointment for a lash extension?
Well, first of all, they would have to have an idea whether they have any allergic reaction to certain stuff, because there's no telling what a client will be allergic to, whether it be the lashes or the glue. Right. Normally, persons don't know what they're allergic to until they come in contact with it. But for persons who have sensitive eyes and stuff like that, you know, it's best that they disclose these information to the technician who will be doing the lashes.
What's the procedure like? What are the steps?
The steps is, of course, you're gonna clean the utensils, sterilize them properly. You clean the client's eyes, the lashes mainly, and then you start fusing the lashes one by one, single strand by strand.
So if you're doing them one by one, that means it takes quite a while.
Yes,
How long
it takes
is
anywhere
that?
between 45 minutes to 1 hour for classic lashes. Now, there are two types of fusion lash extensions. There's classic lashes and there's volume lashes.
So if I want the big bouncy lashes, it's gonna take quite a while.
Yeah, it's gonna take quite a while. So today we have a first timer who is desirous of having her lashes done. She's going more for a glamour look.
Now that we've learned a little about fusion lashes, let's have a look at the application process.
So what I did, I took out 3 different lengths of lashes, because that's how your lashes grow. They're not all the same length. So to have that natural look, that's how it's done. Micropore tips to secure the lower lashes so they don't get glued up with the upper ones. We apply just a little bit of Vaseline to the skin so the tape don't stick. Then we tape down the lower lashes. Look up for me, please. Yes, we have special glue that is made for this purpose here. Nothing is substituted, and it has to be kept in the fridge.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back. Stay with us.
We have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We've been robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would kill people.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to The Good Life. This week we are emphasizing the eyes and enhancing beauty with eyelash extensions. But what do you know about lashes in general? Here's a few need to know. Tiny mites live in your eyelashes, but don't worry, we need them. 1 to 5 eyelashes will drop out each day. And if you are not into artificial lashes, natural oils such as olive, coconut, or castor oil promote healthier and longer eyelash growth.
I love it. I cannot believe how natural it actually looks. I've always been hesitant about putting things on my eye, but he did a superb job. Like, it really looks like mine. I'll be coming back. Manny, I love it.
Thank you very much, darling. Thank you very much.
I swear. Put it down. I love it. I do.
What are some big no-nos when making an appointment or even after application of lashes? What are some things you just don't do?
Well, after lash application, you do not get the lashes wet for the first 12 hours.
Okay.
Absolutely no mascara is needed. Try not to get the eyeliner when you're applying the eyeliner. Try not to get it onto the lashes. What happens if the mascara or any oily products get on the lashes, they fall out sooner than they should. Okay. Lashes should normally last anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Avoid steaming your face if you're doing a facial. No hot yoga, no saunas, so you avoid the heat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do not allow the shower to go directly onto the lashes. It may weaken the adhesive. If you get the lashes wet, because you can wash your face, you can go swimming, salt water, fresh water, it matters not. Mm-hmm. You just pat dry and you use the brush to brush the lashes.
But it sounds like it takes a lot of upkeep. You can't do this,
no,
you
it's
can't
really,
do that.
No, I mean,
I can't steam my face, I can't do this, I can't do that.
It's not a lot of upkeep. You just know that if you're gonna steam your face, you do it before you get the lash extension done.
Okay. Okay.
And mascara, you don't need to use mascara after getting your lashes done. So it's bye-bye mascara, hello lashes.
Let's talk about costs. How much is it gonna run me to get a classic set of lashes?
6 set of lashes will cost you $5,000 here.
Mm-hmm. But I guess, what's the average market price then? Because you may have one price here and elsewhere it's...
Well, you have persons charging upwards of $200 US here locally to get this service done, the classic lashes. Okay. But here you get it for only 5,000 Jamaican dollars.
Okay, so what if I wanted the big voluminous lashes?
Right here, volume lashes, it's only $10,000.
Okay, I love the way you say it's only $10,000. It's like it's only $1, you know? Alrighty, is there anything else that you want to add that you think is of importance for someone who's never done their lashes before or may not know about, you know, lash extensions in general?
Please to note that one would have to refill their lashes anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks because they do shed lashes naturally. So if you want to have that fullness, then you refill the lashes after 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Every 2 to 3 weeks I'd have to come back and get them replaced. What's the cost of...
Cost of refill is only $2,500.
Okay. So is it a case where I get a full set or I get an application this week and then I'll come back in 2 or 3 weeks and I'll spend the $2,500 and then I'll keep replacing?
Yes,
or...
you could always keep just refilling. So at first you pay to get a full set, then after that you could always continue refilling your lashes. And like I said before, your lashes will not be damaged in any way at all. We do have clients that has been refilling their lashes for years.
Would it work out financially for me to keep, get the full set and then keep refilling the lashes as opposed to buying the lash strips or doing the cluster?
Definitely, and it's not only financially because you will not be losing your lashes. So which is more important, you saving $1 or you're spending $1 more just to have beautiful natural looking lashes all year round.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big man don't cry, right? It's a big man don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would kill people.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. Woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
Welcome back to The Good Life. We've just learned about the growing trend of fusion lashes. But there are other kinds of lash extensions. Let's find out more about them and possible effects of the trend.
Hi, my name is Shelleen Gregory. I am a certified and registered makeup artist with the Limari Institute. People or women wear lashes because they want to add a little flair. Lashes basically add fullness and length to your natural lashes. We have 3 types of lashes. There is the individual lash, there is the strip lashes, and then there is the clustered flare. Fusion lashes are actually adding extensions to the natural lash. So fusion is done per strand, while false lashes are extensions that are put in to the natural lashes. They're not added onto a strip, they're actually placed on the band of the lash, your natural lashes. So synthetic is plastic lashes, so it's lashes that are made out of synthetic material. This is a blend, so we have lashes that are made out of human hair, mink, silk, and synthetic. So we have various types of material that are used to make lashes. When applying strip lashes, first you can line the eyes if you choose, or line it after, so it's up to you. And then you apply mascara to the top lashes, your natural lashes. Then of course you want to remove the strip lashes from the container and secure them, because strip lashes get lost so easy, too easy. And then you apply eyelash glue to the band of the lash. There are several types of eyelash glue, and the lash glue depends on the lash. So we have strip lash glue, we have individual lash glue. So it's strip lash glue to the band of the lash, not from the container, but you use something to apply it, because you want to be careful. You do not want to apply too much glue to your lash to spoil your lashes. And then you put them to dry, get tacky for a little bit, probably 10 to 15 seconds. Do not blow on lashes. Just, if you need them to be dried quicker, just secure them in the tweezer and fan them. And then you apply them to the eyes as close to the lash line as possible with your tweezer. We place it in the middle and hold for 10 seconds or more, depending on how tacky the glue is. And then we place each end as close to the natural lash line as possible. If there is glue showing, for example, you use a white or clear glue to apply it and there is a little glue showing, you can always go back with your liner to remove any residue. Strip lashes work best for sensitive eyes, if somebody's afraid of the eyes, because it is easy to put on and easy to remove.
Because the eyes are so sensitive, there are a number of concerns in putting on lash extensions. Shalene points out some of these concerns, but leaves an important tip that should put the mind at ease.
There are some concerns. For example, it can cause damage to your natural lashes over time, or if they are not done properly, you can have adverse reaction. You can have allergic reaction to them. And also, you have to think about bacteria, because the lash and the glue, they trap and hold dirt. So those are some of the concerns that persons might have when it comes onto lashes. My personal tips: one, if you are going to get your lashes done, be sure to get a professional. Some concerns of persons I've come across are like their lashes are totally gone, like the artist or the person who applied lashes used hair glue to apply false lashes, and then their lashes were gone. When by the time they tried to remove the false lashes, their lashes went with the false lashes. Others, they got an eye infection. Their eyes were glued closed. So you have to be really careful because the eyes are very sensitive. Test products. One, you're probably allergic to glue, the eyelash glue. So what works for you? You have to think about sanitization and bacteriology. Is the person washing their hands? Are they sanitizing their tools? You know? What is the purpose of the lash? What is the occasion? You're going out to an event. You're not a person who wears lashes, but you know you want to add a little flair. I'd advise strip lashes because it's a one event thing, so they're easily applied and they can be easily removed. So strip lashes. If you want something semi-permanent, then you could choose individual lashes, which would last a bit longer. My tip is get professional advice before doing lashes. Cost of beauty depends on the type of lash. So somebody who wants to apply lashes on themselves, strip lashes would be the best and the easiest and the cheapest way to go. It is less time consuming because it is a strip. You just apply glue to the band and then you apply to your eyes. While individual lashes, it's like a cluster of 3 to 4 lashes, and then you apply them one at a time between your natural eyelashes. So that is more time consuming. So if you should get an artist or a person to apply strip lashes versus the individual lashes, more than likely the individual will take more time and will cost you more. Strip lashes, depending on the quality of the lashes, they can be reused multiple times. You can clean them with your alcohol, and you can also soak them in warm water when you remove the glue. So strip lashes, depending on the quality, can be reused. While individuals, you put them in and they can last throughout the growth spurt of the human hair, which is 6 to 8 weeks, but it depends. You know, person's hair grow faster than some, so it depends. And you can always fill them out when probably some have fallen out, but it is recommended that the longest you keep in the individual lashes is 3 weeks tops, because as I said before, the glue traps dirt and bacteria, so we don't want to keep that on our eyes for too long.
Regardless of the concerns and the price of this beauty trend, Shalene says eyelash extensions are going nowhere. If anything, people are going bigger and bolder.
Persons who put lashes on the bottom lashes, on their bottom natural lashes, they just want a little drama, a little flair, you know? Drama is in excitement of the eyes, is in makeup trends people love to follow. So, you know, applying lashes to the bottom of the eye, it just adds a little flair and a little more excitement to the eyes, and you know, nothing is wrong with that. It's up to you. What do you like? What works for you? Lashes will remain. They're going nowhere because beauty is in. You realize females, you know, beauty is definitely in, and lashes, no matter how good you think your makeup look, I'm telling you, you drop a pair of lashes on those eyes and everything changes. So lashes, concern, costs, lashes will remain.
Thanks for watching The Good Life this week. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Webb.